Hi, I'm Dr. Janice Webb, clinical psychologist. Way back in 2013, I posted the first video ever made about childhood emotional neglect. How do I know it was the first video ever made? It was on YouTube. You can go watch it as soon as you finish this video. I know it was the first one because I had created the term childhood emotional neglect, CEN for short. I had just discovered it. And before that, it was amazing. It really had been overlooked completely, even by mental health professionals. So let's dial back just a little bit in time to around 2009. I was starting to see a particular pattern among my patients in my psychology practice. It was this deep feeling of emptiness and a sense of being alone even when surrounded by people, never quite fitting in and always being a little different than everyone else. Most of these people had a kind of a sense of being flawed somehow and different. And I got so curious, what is causing all these people who seem to have so little else in common to share this one unique set of struggles? After I looked and looked, and I did a lot of thinking about this as I talked with my patients, I gradually realized that these people had one key thing in common, and it was causing all of these struggles. The one common factor was that they had all grown up in households where their emotions were ignored. So their parents had failed to respond enough to their emotional needs as they were growing up. Believe it or not, that's all it took. Some of them had grown up even in loving homes where all of their material needs were met. They may have even been well loved. But even loving parents can fail to notice what their child is feeling on a day-to-day basis and respond in a way that validates the child and teaches the child about his or her emotions, what they mean, how to manage them, how to feel them, how to tolerate them, how to express them, how to share them, and most importantly, how to use them. So if you grow up in a household that's not giving you any of that or not giving you enough of that, you grow up with a wall separating your emotions from yourself. And you grow into your adulthood without full and complete access to this font of energy and power that is literally wired into you from birth. When you grow up without access to your emotions, you're missing a vital life ingredient, an ingredient that should be driving you and motivating you and connecting you and enriching your life. You just simply don't have enough of it. And this was what was creating this pattern that I was seeing over and over and over again in my clients. Once I discovered it and I gave it the name childhood emotional neglect, or CEN, I realized that no one else had ever talked about it. It had been barely addressed as emotional deprivation in the psychology literature, but that was extreme emotional deprivation, like babies in orphanages mid-century that were never picked up. And this was something happening now. This was something happening to people, and they had no idea what was wrong, and it was causing them to feel deeply struggling and alone and confused and flawed. So I wrote the first book ever written about childhood emotional neglect, Running on Empty, Overcome Your Childhood Emotional Neglect, in 2012. I posted that first video in 2013, and I have to say it's pretty bad, but it received lots of reviews and lots of complaints. You can go back and watch it now if you want to. Since that time, childhood emotional neglect, my goal was to make it a household word, and I have to say, it really has come a long way. If you Google childhood emotional neglect, if you go to Amazon and type it into the search bar, if you, here on YouTube, click childhood emotional neglect, you will find dozens of videos and books and blogs all talking about childhood emotional neglect. I could not be more happy that mental health professionals, other writers, authors are embracing this concept and bringing it to more and more and more people. because what I've seen is that there are scores and legions of people walking through their lives confused and feeling alone and disconnected and wondering on some deep and personal level, what is wrong with me? We are going to solve that, and we're in the process of doing that. So please help spread the word about childhood emotional neglect. Most people know someone who has grown up this way and is living this way. So keep it in your mind, and if you think this could apply to you, go to my website, emotionalneglect.com, and you can take the special questionnaire that I designed to help you figure out if you have it. And if you want to take it further, go on my website to the Fuel Up for Life page, which talks about the online CEN recovery program I developed. But you can get a lot just by reading my website about what causes CEN, how it happens, what it looks like when it happens, and how to heal it, just from my website and my YouTube videos. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.